Chapter 1 Sign-Up Saga. I suppose it all started with the Venmo notification that sliced through Karen Rue Harper's morning like a guillotine blade disguised as tough love. There it was from her parents, those upper-middle-class enablers pulling in $500,000 a year from their soul-crushing corporate gigs. Rent's on you now. Welcome to independence. Karen, 26 and fresh off her Berkeley degree in gender and women's studies, plus that social justice certificate she treated like a papal dispensation, stared at her phone in the dim light of her studio apartment. The place was little more than a glorified closet with exposed brick that screamed gentrified oppression, and a composting bin humming resentfully in the corner. Financial violence, she whispered, sipping from her sticker-plastered hydro flask. Independence? This was just the patriarchy's jab, courtesy of the people who'd bankrolled her tuition, MacBook, and smashed the patriarchy tote. She paced her three-step kitchenette, artfully undone hair swaying after 45 minutes of styling. She needed a gym, not for games, but to reclaim somatic sovereignty from capitalist trauma. Iron Haven Fitness appeared on her app. $10 a month. Lunk alarm law. Perfect for decolonization. She signed up, dubbing it Patriarchy Tracker. Outfit on point. My body, my reparations yoga pants. Sheer feminist looks like crop top. Tote stuffed with stickers and sage. 23 minutes late, blaming traffic oppression, she entered to clanging iron and sweat tang. Mirrors gleamed like a panopticon. She slapped stickers. This gaze is colonial. Decolonize your deadlift. Sweaty Sal paused his treadmill shuffle. Hey, that's vandalism. Karen whirled. Check your privilege. Trauma-informed interventions. He shuffled off, muttering. I relate. My cousin Wad smudged a grill with poison ivy. Fire extinguisher ensued. Karen declared a squatting circle, chanting I am sovereign, while blocking barbells. Sage lit, smoke wafted. Beep beep, bueon. Lunk alarm wailed. Mom fled with kid. Gary's deadlift froze. Chad smirked. Mike, ex-marine manager, approached. Ma'am, that's for noise, not smudging. Live streaming to 437 followers. Noise violence. Ableist. Mike, tone it down. Tone policing is violence. First cancellation pinged. Too weird for Zumba. Karen plotted, reality bending to her world. Little did Mike know, the circus had begun. Chapter 2 Vlog Vanguard. By the end of her first week at Iron Haven Fitness, Karen Rue Harper had promoted the squat rack to her personal TED stage, complete with tripod legs splayed like a devout spider and a ring light casting her in a halo of self-importance. She arrived 20 minutes late that Tuesday, blaming urban planning microaggressions that funneled her Uber through a neighborhood she deemed gentrification adjacent, and set up shop in the prime mirror corner, the one where the free weights congregated like conspirators. Her outfit escalated. Decolonize your deadlift, leggings, stretched over thighs that whispered of oat milk lattes more than leg presses, topped with a tank that read, lived experience over bro science. The hydro flask perched on a 45-pound plate like a chalice, stickers proclaiming obscure pronouns nobody asked for. Fam, she breathed into her phone, hitting record for her 487 followers. Today we're dismantling cis-normative form. Judith Butler says, performativity is power. Watch me reclaim it. Mid-monologue, as she wobbled into a squat that would make a physiotherapist weep, Grunter Gary barreled in with 315 pounds on the bar, veins bulging like overinflated garden hoses. The barbell clanked past her lens like a colonial invasion, his sweat-drenched tank invading the frame alongside what she later dubbed his patriarchal protein pouch. Karen shrieked, yanking the tripod in a panic. It toppled into the chalk tray, erupting a white cloud that powdered her from coquette to cocaine casualty. Excuse me, you're disrupting my sacred container. Gary, 38 and built like a retired wrestler who'd discovered craft beer, blinked through the haze, mustache twitching. Lady, this here's a squat rack, not your Instagram yoga retreat. Some of us got sets to hit. She was already live streaming the fallout, zooming mercilessly on his midsection. This is exactly why gyms perpetuate erasure. Check your gaze. Lurking is literal violence. The chat erupted. Yas Queen, clashing with Touch Grass Tofu Girl. Gary deadlifted away, grunting a mangled eye of the tiger that drowned her Butler quote like a bad cover band at a wedding. I tried vlogging once myself, back in my short-lived podcast phase. filming a grocery haul to prove I could adult. The clip captured me dropping a cantaloupe on my foot. Raw, unfiltered mortification that got 12 views before I deleted it. Karen? She leaned in, turning chalk dust into healing ash for the gram. Undeterred, she fired off a 17-page DEI manifesto to Mike via email that afternoon, single-spaced in glitter-ink font screenshots. Iron Haven must implement non-hierarchical reps, trauma-informed zones, and pronoun check-ins at the desk. Mike printed it for the break room, where it became wallpaper next to the protein shaker recipes. The bros snickered over it during lunch, Gary sticking a no days off decal right over her title page. Karen didn't stop there. She patrolled the mirrors like a sticker vigilante, peeling Swole Patrol decals from the bros' water bottles and replacing them with Rest is Resistance. One victim, Chad the Handsome, jawline sharp enough to grate cheese, found his bottle reborn and peeled it back mid-curl, slapping it onto her hydro flask with a wink. "Looks better on you, ally." She posted the oppression artifact to her story, captioning it, "Material evidence of heteronormative pushback." By evening, Yelp lit up. A mom cancelled Zumba, ranting, "Came for cardio, stayed for the cult vibes till the chanting started." Another dropout, "Great until the wokey blocked my bench press." Mike cornered her by the ellipticals that night, his ex-Marine frame filling the space like a polite eclipse. "Karen, you're scaring off members. Tone it down." Her eyes widened behind statement glasses. "Tone policing is violence against my neurodivergent processing. This space needs to hold discomfort, not evade it." He walked away rubbing his temples, much like my father after my sister's phase of insisting all family dinners be trigger-free zones. No meat, no politics, no fun. Gary's grunts became her unwilling soundtrack. She'd overlay chants on her vlogs, drawing stares from the cardio crowd, who whispered "cult" while fleeing to Planet Fitness down the street. Views hit 1,000. The bros plotted quiet sabotage, a protein shake accident here, an AirPods blast there. Dropouts ticked to 5. Karen called it progressive pruning, her world a bubble where every grunt was a microaggression and every cancellation a clarion call. Little did she know, the pushback was just warming up its engines, ready to rev into full slapstick war.
Subscribe with us now and stay connected as we journey through every chapter together. Now back to our story.
Chapter 3. Safe Space, Slip. Karen Rue Harper's Safe Space Station debuted the following Monday, a triumphant escalation in her one-woman crusade to rebrand Iron Haven Fitness as a somatic sanctuary rather than a sweat factory. She hauled in 4 overstuffed beanbags, sustainably sourced from a boutique that charged extra for ethical foam, and arranged them in a sacred circle by the ellipticals, the gym's no man's land, where cardio diehards pedaled toward nowhere. Lavender candles flickered from recycled jars, $12 each, a radical act of self-care, and a sign in printer paper proclaimed, "Process your gym trauma here. Pronouns welcome." She arrived 22 minutes late, of course. Traffic had microaggressed her energy field, and flopped into the lead beanbag, megaphone in hand. "This space holds our collective wounds from patriarchal performance culture," she bellowed to a scattering of spinners. Treadmill Tammy, a harried mum in neon sneakers, sank into one mid-interval, her kale smoothie teetering precariously. That's when Gary's accidental protein shake sabotage struck. A whey missile from his shaker exploded nearby, soaking the bags in curdled vanilla sludge. The beanbags drank it up like sponges at a pity party, transforming from plush havens to sticky hazards. Tammy yelped, spilling her smoothie proper, a green tidal wave that mixed with the whey into primordial ooze. GymKaren had gone viral by then, her squat rack meltdown clipped to 50,000 views across TikTok and Instagram Reels, soundtracked by Gary's grunts remixed into a dubstep nightmare. Mums were fleeing Zumba classes in droves. "My downward dog now feels colonized," one Yelp review wailed. "Purity shattered for my kid." Mike fielded 3 cancellations that morning alone, a dad ranting over the phone. Came for cardio, got a seminar on Butler. Karen, oblivious, led a beanbag sermon. Breathe into the discomfort of late capitalism as the sludge squelched underfoot. Gary accidentally kicked a bag during his deadlifts, sending it rolling into Chad the Handsome's leg press like a furry landmine. Chad, jawline still grating cheese, tank top clinging just so, launched it back with a laugh. Safe from what, Karen? Actual workouts. She corrected him primly. My pronouns are she chaos ally. This is for processing, not performing. The bros had formed a whisper network by now, a bronet of eye rolls and petty plots. I once tried creating a quiet corner at my family's Thanksgiving in Raleigh. Beanbag, herbal tea, no football talk. Uncle Lou promptly lit a cigar and ashed into my dip, declaring it real quiet now. Same vibe here, good intentions curdling faster than Karen's compost bin. Mike dragged the bags to storage that afternoon, but Karen chained her hydro flask to the last one with a bike lock from her tote. Decolonize this intervention. A passerby snapped the pic, her mid-savasana in the aisle, blocking dumbbells like a performance artist on a bender. And it went viral. 20,000 likes, captioned, wellness or hostage situation. Reviews soured further. Love the weights, hate the witch. 5 more dropouts, including a powerlifter who muttered about wokey takeover. Karen spun it as progressive pruning, her followers eating up the drama, while the cardio section echoed emptier than a silent disco. She patrolled the mirrors between sets, slapping more stickers. Mirrors equals male gaze. One peeled off mid Gary's curl, sticking to his shaker. He grinned and restuck it to her water bottle. Pushback brewed like a storm over the free weights. Mike warned her by the water fountain. Karen, members are bailing. This isn't a protest site. Her statement glasses flashed. Exclusionary spaces harm my neurodivergent flow. Hold space for change. He walked away, temples throbbing, like my father's after my sister's trigger-free dinner demands. No meat, no opinions, no seconds. Gary's grunts became the soundtrack to her vlogs now, overlaid with chants that drew stares from the few remaining civilians. The gym felt lighter without the crowds, but heavier with tension. Dropouts hit 10 that week. Karen called it awakening. The bros called it war. Little did she know, the safe space slip was just the appetizer for the slapstick siege ahead. Chapter 4. Squat Rack Sacrament. Picture the scene at Iron Haven Fitness on a humid Thursday. The primed squat rack. Mirrors mocking every wobbly form, now claimed as holy ground by Karen Rue Harper. Her Instagram Live was in full swing, tripod akimbo, ring light haloing her artfully undone hair, hydro flask altar perched on a 45-pound plate like a pagan relic. In this space today, she vlogged breathlessly to 612 followers. We're decolonizing deadlifts from cis-normative tyranny. Check your gaze, fam. Lurking is literal violence. She dropped into a squat that listed like a drunk sailor, citing Butler mid-rep. Performativity is. Then Grunter Gary invaded frame. 315 pounds clanking past like a colonial tank, his sweat tank eclipsing her lens alongside the infamous patriarchal protein pouch. Energy violation, Karen shrieked, yanking the tripod in holy horror. It toppled into the chalk tray, erupting a white cloud that dusted her from influencer to industrial accident victim. Live chat exploded. Karen alert. Gary blinked through the haze, mustache bristling. Recs for reps, not reals, sweetheart. She zoomed on his gut relentlessly. This erasure of bodies, my trauma container is breached. He deadlifted away, grunting Eye of the Tiger at deafening volume, a petty symphony to drown her sermon. She blocked the rack with performative savasana, arms splayed, chanting, holding space for your toxicity, as Chad filmed his own PR opposite, AirPods blasting the same song in stereo spite. Treadmill Tammy tripped over the cable, her kale smoothie cascading onto Karen's mat in a green liquid lateral violence. Lunk Alarm wailed its red light requiem. Spinners fled, whispering cult takeover, leaving chalky footprints. Mike arrived amid the din, ex-Marine calm cracking. Filming equity policy. Take it outside before I enforce one. Karen thrust a glitter pad petition, 10 points on sacred filming zones. Gary's quip, weights not wellness retreat, hit TikTok, sparking GymKaren 2. Stans hailed bold boundaries. Bros memed touch grass, tofu girl. Rack reclaimed by force of reps, her followers ticked up 12. I vlogged a grocery fail once, dropped melon on foot, pure cringe. Karen spun chalk as healing dust, blind to the fleeing members who now eyed the door like exits from a bad play. Dropouts hit 15 that day, Yelp moaning, came for curls, stayed for chaos. She ended stream tears streaked, sitting with late capitalist discomfort. Subscribe for the arc. The gym echoed hollower, bros plotting bolder. Her bubble held, but the pinpricks multiplied. Little did she know, the sacrament was about to demand real sacrifice.
Let's stay connected. Subscribe and join me on this journey every step of the way.
Chapter 5. Gaze Gate. Karen Rue Harper strutted into Iron Haven Fitness that Friday like a revolutionary on a runway, her activist athleisure dialed to 11. A sheer, this is what a feminist looks like crop top, strategically torn at the hem for decolonized distress, paired with micro shorts screaming, "My body, my reparations." No sports bra in sight. "Smashing beauty standards is my cardio," she'd caption later. The fabric clung like a manifesto, sheer enough to hint at nipples she deemed non-binary rebels against colonial modesty. She posed by the dumbbells, hydro flask in one hand, phone in the other, ready to vlog her embodied sovereignty. That's when sweaty Sal, 60s, comb-over wilting like old lettuce, gawked from his bench press, eyes lingering like a last thrill before the grave. "Patriarchal predation," Karen erupted, flopping into dramatic savasana right in the dumbbell aisle, blocking 3 racks at once. She live-streamed his male gaze violence, zooming on his paunch. "My trauma container is breached. This is why we need gaze-free zones." Sal blinked, red-faced. "Just looking, lady. Seen worse at the DMV." Chat bubbled, "Call him out," versus "Gramps deserves it." The aisle clogged. Bros sidestepped her like a spill. Then Chad the Handsome glanced over during her empowered poses, shredded jawline appreciative, tank rippling. Karen flipped like a switch, flirty vlogger mode engaged. "Solidarity in the stretch, ally?" Lashes batted, a butler quote turned coquettish. "Performativity can be hot, right?" Chad grinned. "Decolonize later?" She blushed under the ring light. Mike enforced the dress code by the water fountain, polo taut over his marine bulk. "No midriffs, Karen. Rules for revolutionaries too." She launched a 10-minute tirade. "This policy is fact-phobic, trans-exclusive, a colonial modesty enforcer rooted in Victorian prudery." Rally cries echoed. "My nipples are non-binary," as she chained her hydro flask to the front desk, glitter pen petition flying. Gary snickered from deadlifts. "That's not fabric, that's a flag." Karen cleavage trended locally. Stam's bold boundary smashing. Bros woke walk of shame. Treadmill class emptied mid-warm-up. Moms fleeing to safer sands. Staff herded her to the family locker room for a change. She emerged in an oversized, smash patriarchy tee, baggy irony dripping. Sitting with conformity discomfort, she muttered for the gram. Chad slipped his number. "Dress code? We decolonize off-site." Her selfie captioned nuance, got 2K likes. "I wore short shorts to a straight gym once. Stairs like spotlights, no tirade." Karen weaponized them, blind to the cost. Dropouts surged to 25. Yelp wailed, "Wardrobe warfare killed my spin." The gym thinned, tension thickened. Little did she know, the gaze was just the gate to full occupation. Chapter 6. Occupy Gym Space. Karen Rue Harper escalated her clout chasing from gym guerrilla to full-blown general that rainy Saturday, rallying 12 comrades, mostly underpaid baristas with pronoun pins and reusable straws, for Occupy Gym Space, her Occupy Wall Street homage, rebranded for reps, not rents. They massed outside Iron Haven Fitness like a flash mob gone rogue. Cardboard signs dripping, decolonized deadlifts, trauma-free treadmills, smash the squat patriarchy. Karen megaphoned butler quotes over her $14 oat milk latte, live streaming to 1,200 followers as Gym Liberation Now trended locally. "This heteronormative haven erases non-binary bodies. We're occupying for equity." The mob surged through the turnstiles, chaining themselves with bike locks from her tote. Lobby reborn as people's powerhouse. One ally glitter-bombed the smoothie bar with reparations rice milk, turning kale blends into sticky solidarity sludge. Gary and Chad formed the Bro Brigade counterline, a human wall of protein shakes hoisted high like medieval pikestaffs. "No justice, no reps," Karen chanted. Gary bellowed back, "No squats, no peace." Mike, cornered by corporate's sudden PR thirst for viral gold, offered free pizza slices as negotiation, a ploy that backfired when vegans cried carnist compromise. Karen Savasana blocked the leg press. This machine is a colonial relic of domination. Viral standoff ensued. Protesters versus powerlifters in slapstick tug-of-war over a kettlebell solidarity symbol, the 35-pounder swinging like a disputed flag. I once joined an Occupy Park protest in Manhattan. Rain-soaked tents, endless drum circles, my dignity lost to porta potty lines. Karen's version smelled more of desperation and dairy alternatives. Infighting erupted mid-siege. A vegan ally accused her of oat milk privilege, sparking screams of lateral oppression that Karen live captured for the gram. Occupy split memes multiplied, half Queen of Chaos, half Return to Brunch. Cops rolled up. Karen demanded abolitionist dialogue with tear-glistened eyes, but folded when a group chat buzzed with parents' Venmo cutoff rumors. No more financial reparations? Mike unveiled Harmony Hour, mandatory allyship yoga, as truce, but Matt stayed empty, echoes mocking the effort. Dropouts surged to 20%, Zumba moms and powerlifters alike bailed, Yelp howling protests not pumps. Karen claimed nuanced victory in her healing grid post, hydro flask aloft like a trophy. The gym doors swung freer, but the war simmered hotter. Little did she know, petitions were about to pandemonize the peace. Chapter 7. Petition Pandemonium. Karen Rue Harper wore her Occupy gym space bruises like badges of honor that Sunday morning. The kale glitter still flecking her smashed the patriarchy tote as she burst into Iron Haven Fitness with a petition clutched like the Magna Carta reborn. She'd spent the weekend cornering baristas, yoga moms, and bewildered passers-by outside the strip mall, amassing 400 signatures on glitter-penned parchment for all-gender locker rooms, a DEI imperative to dismantle cis-normative binaries and the lurking male gaze. Most were prank doodles from the bros. Rage comic Karen's mid-savasana with Hydro Flask handcuffs. Gary for prez, ban the beanbags, oat milk equals dairy oppression. She thrust it at Mike's desk anyway, statement glasses flashing triumph. This is the people's voice. Separate facilities erase non-binary bodies and perpetuate heteronormative hierarchies. Mike, nursing black coffee laced with exhaustion from a weekend of Yelp firefighting, scanned the mess and chuckled, a deep ex-Marine rumble. Looks like half a memes, Karen. Corporates breathing down my neck, Yelp's lit with curls to seminar and woke nightmare. Memberships are circling the drain. Undeterred, she escalated at the afternoon powerlifting comp, the gym's one big event, with spotters barking and chalk dust swirling like a snow globe of testosterone. Megaphone aloft, she blared fragile masculinities on display, over the grunts and seismic bar clanks, clearing half the floor as lifters dropped plates in stunned solidarity. Gary's 500-pound deadlift froze mid-shin, mustache quivering like a seismic sensor, while Chad orchestrated a human pyramid blockade around her yoga nook. Bros stacked 3 high, chanting, "No pronouns, just PRs," in mocking call and response. Karen chained her tote to the leg press with a bike lock, live streaming the microaggression siege to her swelling 2,500 followers, tears glistening for effect. This is erasure. Hold space for my trauma. Chat split. Stands, Yars disrupt, versus roasts, tofu tantrum live. Vegan allies imploded mid-meltdown. One pierced comrade jabbed, "Your oat latte funds big dairy patriarchy." Karen wailed back, lateral oppression from within the movement. The spat went TikTok viral, a 2 million view split-screen remix that crowned her tofu tyrant in meme hell. I once petitioned my rally book club for trigger-free reads, no white males, no plots with conflict. 6 resignations later, I read Nabokov alone under a blanket fort, dignity curdled like week-old yogurt. Karen's chaos cleared the cardio crowd faster than a lunk alarm symphony. Moms and meatheads migrating to rival gyms with actual quiet hours. The infighting peaked later in the sauna during her body liberation brunch, where oat milk lattes steamed in ethically sourced mugs until Gary's Axe body spray ambush, deployed from a hidden shaker, cleared the space like tear gas at a protest gone wrong. Coughing comrades fled, leaving echoes and empty cups smeared with reparations rice milk. Reviews tanked harder. Love the racks, loathe the rants, cancelled after the Megaphone massacre. 25% of members gone now. Zumba ghosts and powerlifting dropouts piling up like unracked plates. Mike called an emergency huddle in the break room, folding chairs scraping linoleum, but Karen arrived 30 minutes late, traffic enacting violence on her energy, and hijacked it into a vulnerability circle. Everyone holds space for my discomfort in this patriarchal pressure cooker. The bros opted for protein shakes in the lot instead, Gary muttering, "That's not a meeting, that's a hostage video." She posted the petition online as undeniable proof of people's power, cropping out the doodles with artful Instagram filters, her bubble inflating with every viral roast and stan cheer. Gary peeled one signature mid-set, a cartoon Karen toppling under weights, and stuck it to her locker door. Problematic? That's my resting bench face. Chad high-fived him, slipping Karen his number earlier during her grudging busboy shift. But even he whispered, "Too far now." The gym thinned to skeletal crews, ellipticals humming solo, mirrors reflecting more empty space than egos. Tension crackled like fresh chalk dust in the air, every grunt a grenade pin half pulled. Mike fielded corporate calls that night, voice tight. She's a one-woman exodus. Karen, blissfully adrift, planned her next healing arc from a chaise at her parents' pool, the colonial wealth site she secretly craved. Dropouts hit critical mass, but her followers surged. Reality's edges frayed, her world a fortress of reframed failures. Little did she know, the pyramid was stacking higher, its shadow poised to bury her tower of tote-bag triumphs. Chapter 8. Pyramid Panic. Karen Rue Harper's petition Pandemonium had Iron Haven Fitness teetering on the brink that muggy Monday. Memberships down 25%, and the air thick with the scent of rebellion and stale Gatorade. She claimed the yoga nook that afternoon, a sad corner by the stretching mats, where forgotten resistance bands gathered dust like unfulfilled resolutions. "This is our somatic sanctuary," she declared via megaphone, unrolling her mat with the flourish of a red carpet at the Oscars of outrage. Her followers, now 3,000 strong from the TikTok splits, tuned in live as she led a decolonized vinyasa for two barista allies and a stray cat who'd wandered in through the bay doors. "Breathe into the discomfort of bro culture," she cooed, downward dogging with such fervor that her My Reparations shorts rode up like a protest flag in a gale. The bros, Gary, Chad, and their growing posse of tank-topped loyalists, had endured enough. Gary, mustache primed for war, signaled from the power rack. "Pyramid time, boys." What followed was a human Jenga tower of pure pettiness. Chad at the base, quads flexing like coiled pythons, Gary scaling next, 250 pounds of plumber muscle, topped by sweaty Sal, wheezing but game, his comb-over defying gravity. They blockaded the nook entirely, a living wall chanting no pronouns, just PRs, in booming unison, protein shakers raised like chalices at a frat communion. Karen's live chat imploded, bro colossus versus woke warrior. Her savasana faltered. "This is fragile masculinity incarnate. Dismantle the hierarchy." Mike watched from the desk, half amused, half apoplectic, as the pyramid swayed but held. Karen rallied her comrades for a counter-push, tote bags swinging, megaphone blaring, "Equity now." But the bros doused the tension with a Gatorade oat milk vulnerability circle. Chad poured from her abandoned hydro flask, mixing the blue electrolyte slop with her reparations rice milk into a frothy abomination. "Drink up, allies. Hold space for our feelings." Gary fake-wept theatrically. "I'm sitting with my toxic gains, Karen." The circle devolved into slapstick tears and hugs, Karen's allies fleeing the saccharine brew that tasted like regret and dairy-free despair. "I once built a fort with my siblings during a family power outage, cardboard and spite, but it toppled under my brother's weight, much like Karen's dreams under bro bulk." Her stream peaked at 50,000 views, memes multiplying, pyramid scheme of patriarchy. The real gut punch landed post-parents' Venmo cutoff that evening. Karen, Venmo dry and dramatic, slouched into a busboy shift at the gym cafe, clearing smoothie tables in her smashed patriarchy apron, muttering forced labor cosplay under late capitalism. Gary spotted her wiping kale sludge, his grudge softening just a hair. Form check on deadlifts. What followed was grudging détente. He coached her through a wobbly 135-pound pull, veins popping as she locked out. "Reclaiming my inner Amazon," she gasped, high-fiving awkwardly. For a moment the gym hushed, no megaphones, just iron clank and quiet triumph. But cardio refugees never returned. Ellipticals hummed solo, memberships plummeting another 5% to 30 total. Yelp wailed louder, Pyramid blocked my piece, cancelled. Corporate memos flooded Mike's inbox, viral gold turning to lead. Karen posted her PR as intersectional victory, cropping out Gary's mustache, her bubble buoyant amid the exodus. Chad slipped her his number again during her shift, decolonize off-site, but whispered to Gary, she's chaos incarnate. The gym echoed hollower, mats rolled unused, mirrors reflecting skeletons of crowns past. Tension coiled tighter than a 45-plate bar, every glance a grenade. Mike rubbed his temples that night, fielding calls from defectors, came for reps, got reality TV. Karen bussed tables till close, tote heavier with grudges, plotting her next healing arc from the cafe's flickering fluorescent. Dropouts hit critical. Powerlifters packing, moms migrating. Her world reframed the panic as progress, but the pyramid's shadow loomed larger, ready to crush. Little did she know, the sludge storm was brewing, its compost catastrophe set to flood the final straws.
Subscribe with us now and stay connected as we journey through every chapter together. Now back to our story.
Chapter 9, Sludge Storm. Karen Rue Harper's pyramid panic had Mayan Haven Fitness gasping on life support by midweek. The yoga nook a no man's land of crumpled mats and grudge-fueled silence. Memberships hemorrhaging at 30% as Yelp dirges wailed, "Bro pyramids broke my spirit, cancelled for calmer curls." She arrived Thursday clutching her tote like a life raft, the parents' Venmo cutoff still stinging like a bad breakup with Big Daddy capitalism. "Financial violence has forced my hand," she announced to Mike, who was tallying dropout spreadsheets behind the desk, his ex-Marine jaw set like concrete. Corporate had greenlit her busboy solidarity shift at the cafe, clearing smoothie tables in a smashed patriarchy apron that chafed her soul, but only as a PR bandage to the viral wounds. Karen bussed kale sludge with theatrical sighs, muttering cosplay of the proletariat under late capitalism's boot, her statement glasses fogging from the steam of abandoned lattes. Gary spotted her mid-wipe, his mustache twitching with uncharacteristic mercy after their deadlift detente. "Form check again, Amazon," he grunted, nodding to the power rack where her 135-pound PR still glowed in her stories. She joined him grudgingly, bar loaded light, locking out with a gasp. "Reclaiming my somatic power from the gaze." He spotted her through 3 sets, grunts sinking in awkward harmony. No megaphone, just iron clank and the faint whir of lonely ellipticals. For a fleeting moment, the gym felt almost normal. Chad high-fiving from leg press. "Progress, tofu girl?" Her bubble swelled. She posted it as intersectional gains, cropping his porn stash for aesthetic purity. "I coached my nephew through his first bike ride once. Wobbly triumph, scraped knees, but no TikTok glory." Karen felt mythic, even as cardio ghosts fled forever. But detente dissolved in the equity emergency meeting Mike called that evening, folding chairs scraping the break room linoleum scarred from years of spin schedules. Karen hauled in her compost bin, collective healing through decay, a reeking tower of kale rinds, oat pulp, and reparations rice milk dregs plopped center table like a biohazard piñata. 12 stragglers gathered, Gary, Chad, Sweaty Sal, 2 barista allies and a handful of treadmill holdouts eyeing the exit. "This space must confront its colonial weights," she megaphoned, waving Butler quotes on glitter taper. Mike opened with stats. 30% gone, Karen. Powerlifting comp, half empty. Zumba, tumbleweeds. She countered, "That's white flight from discomfort. Decolonize or perish." The bin chose that moment for catastrophe. Lid askew from her tote rummaging, it erupted, a volcanic geyser of fermented green sludge spewing across the table, splattering Gary's tank, Chad's jawline, and Mike's polo in primordial ooze. Karen wailed as it flooded the carpet, seeping under chairs like guilt from a bad family secret. Gary retched, "Smells like your worldview, Karen, rotten and forced." Chaos reigned. Sal slipped in the slick. Baristas fled screaming lateral bioviolence. Chad wiped his face with her petition, turning signatures to soup. TikTok captured it live, her stream hitting 100,000 views mid-eruption, remixed into Surgegate Symphony, with 5 million plays by midnight. Memes crowned her compost queen, stands cheering organic uprising, detractors poopocalypse now. Corporate panic peaked with the flood, emails screaming viral gold to toxic spill, shut it down. Mike evacuated, calling janitorial jihad as the stench lingered like regret. Karen spun it poolside later, parents' estate, jacuzzi bubbling colonial luxury, as visceral metaphors of systemic rot. Her followers surged to 6,000, but Iron Haven's cardio section echoed like a tomb, ellipticals gathering dust beside empty smoothie bar taps. Dropouts hit 35%. Powerlifters packed bags. Mums migrated en masse. Gary peeled a sludge sticker from his shaker. That's it. Peace or pumps. Chad nodded, slipping her number back unsigned. Tension coiled final. Mirrors reflected skeletons. Weights unracked in defeat. Mike fielded night calls from defectors. Sludge was the last straw. Gaines genocide complete. Karen bussed one final table, tote sodden, plotting Healing Arc 2.0 from her Uber escape. Her world reframed catastrophe as catharsis, but the gym's pulse flickered dim. Little did she know, the megaphone mutiny would echo her into exile. Chapter 10. Deadlift Detente. Karen Rue Harper's pyramid panic had left Iron Haven Fitness a shell of its sweaty self by midweek, the cardio section echoing like a ghost town after a particularly grim haunting. 30% of members vanished, ellipticals gathering dust beside forgotten water bottles. She slouched through another busboy shift at the gym cafe that Wednesday evening. Post the latest Venmo silence from her parents' colonial wealth vault, aprons smeared with kale sludge, and smash the patriarchy irony. Forced labor cosplay under late capitalism, she muttered to a stack of abandoned smoothie cups, wiping counters with the vigor of someone plotting a labor strike. Gary the Grunter spotted her from the free weights, his 405-pound deadlift rack looming like a judgmental monolith. He'd softened a fraction after coaching her wobbly PR last time, mustache twitching less with outright scorn, more with the curiosity of a plumber eyeing a tricky pipe. "Hey, tofu girl," he called, voice gravelly from reps. "Form check, can't have you herniating in here." Karen paused, Hydro Flask mid-sip, statement glasses slipping down her nose. A real olive branch from the Bro Brigade? In her world, this was reclamation therapy. Intersectional allyship, blooming from the ashes of occupation. She shuffled over, tote abandoned by the cafe, and gripped the bar at 135 pounds, chalk dusting her palms like reluctant war paint. Gary circled her like a drill sergeant with a soft spot. Hips back, core tight, no performative wobble. Pull like you mean it. She locked out with a gasp, bar kissing her hips, veins popping under her decolonized deadlift's leggings. "Reclaiming my inner Amazon," she crowed, high-fiving his calloused paw awkwardly. For a fleeting moment, the gym hushed. No megaphones, no chants, just the pure clank of iron and a shared nod. Chad watched from leg press, jawline smirking approval. "Not bad, ally." Even sweaty Sal clapped from his bench, comb-over quivering. I remember coaxing my sister through her first spin class during one of her wellness phases. She pedaled like a woman fleeing bad decisions, and we bonded over post-ride Gatorade, siblings in sweat. Karen's detente felt similar. Fragile, absurd, almost human. Gary slapped her back. "Next week, 185. Build that power, not just the posts." She beamed, live-streaming a snippet to 4,000 followers, patriarchy pierced by progress, cropping his mustache for aesthetic purity. The stream got 10,000 views, a rare positive in her meme-choked feed. For an hour, Iron Haven breathed easier. Bros curled in peace, a mom returned for spin, mats unrolled without protest. But détente cracked under the weight of her infamous compost bin, hauled in for the equity emergency staff meeting Mike called that night. The bin, a $60 eco-marvel from her apartment, reeking of fermented reparations rice milk and wilted kale, sat center table like a ticking bomb of good intentions. "This holds our collective healing," Karen insisted, megaphone holstered for once. Mike eyed it warily amid folding chairs and whiteboard ghosts. "Focus, folks, members fleeing." She popped the lid to demonstrate decolonized nourishment, but pressure built from days of neglect. Sludge storm. Green-black ooze erupted like Old Faithful at a vegan festival. flooding the table, splashing Gary's tank, coating Mike's polo in primordial payback. My neurodivergent ecosystem, Karen wailed, slipping in the mess. Bros howled, Chad filmed, compost coup. The cardio crowd peeking from ellipticals, bolted permanently, final straw snapped. Smells like surrender, one yelped, cancellations spiking to 35%. Corporate panic memos flew.
Karen spun the sludge as visceral metaphor for overflow depression, posting tear-streaked selfies from the cafe floor, her bubble buoyant amid the deluge. Gary wiped off, muttering, "Amazon my ass, that's biohazard," but tossed her a towel anyway. Chad whispered, "Off-site decolonizing? Cleaner than this." The gym reeked for days, mats ruined, morale in the toilet with the compost. Mike surveyed the flood that night, phone buzzing with defectors. Came for reps, drowned in rhetoric. Karen bust the sludge solo, apron a casualty, plotting her healing arc via Uber home, public transit still unsafe for her energy. Dropouts hit critical mass, powerlifters packed bags, moms never looked back. Her world reframed the fiasco as feminist fortitude, but the gym's skeleton crew whispered mutiny. Little did she know, the TikTok tsunami was cresting, ready to wash her out for good. Chapter 11. Complaint Cascade. I suppose every revolution has its paperwork reckoning, and for Iron Haven Fitness, it arrived on a drizzly Wednesday, when Mike the manager finally cracked open the complaint log like a reluctant coroner at a crime scene. 47 entries sprawled across the pages, a litany of grievances in chicken scratch and typed fury. Megaphone massacre during my deadlifts, scrawled by Gary after the powerlifting comp debacle. Pyramid blocked the yoga nook, felt like a frat prank, from a Zumba mom who decamped to a quieter chain. Kale sludge everywhere, slipped on reparations rice milk, from a cardio refugee nursing a twisted ankle. Yelp had become a digital dumpster fire. Gaines genocide, screamed one 5-star hater, complete with a photo of Karen's glitter pen petition doodled into a rage comic. Burpees now trigger microaggressions, cancelled after the nipple rant. Memberships had cratered 35%, the gym echoing like a cathedral after an apocalypse, ellipticals humming solo, and free weights gathering dust, bros once polished with their sweat. Mike spread the log on the break room table, ex-Marine frames sagging under corporate memos that pinged his inbox like accusatory texts from a spurned lover. Viral gold turning toxic, fix or fire, read the latest from head office. Graphs showing dropouts spiking post GymKaren tsunami. He'd printed "I survived Karen" t-shirts at the local shop. Glitter font, petty vengeance perfected, for the staff, hanging one like a scalp in the office. Gary wandered in mid-review, mustache drooping from a rare defeat. "She cost me spotters, Mike. Place feels like a ghost town." Chad nodded, jawline shadowed by uncharacteristic gloom. "Even my influencer collabs are tanking. Iron Haven, home of the tofu tyrant." The bros had held the line through pyramid panics and oat Gatorade wheat fests, but the exodus hit personal. Powerlifting comps halved, spin classes deader than Karen's compost bin. Karen, oblivious in her bubble, had bussed her last cafe table the night before, parents' Venmo drought forcing cosplay capitalism in a smash patriarchy apron, wiping kale remnants while muttering about feminized labor traps. Gary's deadlift coaching had yielded her a shaky PR. Amazon reclamation, she'd posted, cropping his face. But the gym's pulse weakened daily. That morning, she chained her Hydro Flask to the front desk again, demanding trauma-informed table bussing rotations from Mike. "This space enacts financial violence on my neurodivergent flow." He flipped open the log instead. "Karen, read this. 47 reasons you're driving us under." Her statement glasses fogged with performative tears. "These are problematic narratives from the patriarchy's foot soldiers." Corporate's curveball landed via Zoom that afternoon. A suits and ties panel praising the buzz. 5 million TikTok views on the sludge storm montage, but drawing the ban line. PR loves memes, hates empty gyms. Revoke her access or we intervene. Mike prepped the revocation letter, t-shirt folded neatly atop it, like a funeral bouquet. Karen live-streamed her response, a vulnerability circle solo in the yoga nook, chanting "Hold space for cisnormative cruelty" to 4,000 followers.
Chat split. Queen of quitting versus ban hammer incoming. I once tallied complaints at a family reunion. My aunt's casserole sparked gluten genocide rants. By dessert, we were down 2 cousins. Mike's cascade felt biblical, the log a scroll of slapstick sins. Yelp bombs multiplied. Love the Rex, loathe the rents. $40 wasted on woke warfare. A powerlifter dad cancelled mid-phone call. Kids class empty, blame the beanbag witch. Gary high-fived Chad over protein shakes. End times, brother. The gym's mirrors reflected skeletons. Mats rolled unused, turnstiles spinning free. Karen posted, sitting with the cascade discomfort. Hydro flask aloft, her arc curving toward exile. Mike signed the ban, hand steady. Time to pump in peace. Tension peaked, air electric with impending thud. Little did she know, the hammer hovered, glitter about to shatter.
Chapter 12. Pump Peace. I suppose every circus needs its final glittering bow. And for Iron Haven Fitness, that curtain call came on a desolate Tuesday evening when the parking lot stretched emptier than a vegan potluck after the tofu ran dry. Karen Rue Harper had morphed into the gym's one-woman apocalypse. 47 complaints logged, memberships cratered by 35%, Yelp reviews howling Gaines genocide, and my burpees now trigger microaggressions from a screaming seminar. Corporate had finally snapped the leash after the pyramid panic and her busboy cosplay capitalism stint, summoning Mike for an equity emergency meeting in the break room closet. Karen arrived 27 minutes late, as always, blaming heteronormative time poverty that warped her Uber through ableist urban grids, her smash the patriarchy tote swinging like a guillotine she'd unwittingly forged for her own neck. The air reeked of last week's compost sludge, kale flecks still glued to the carpet like confetti from a failed revolution. She launched her megaphone monologue before the folding chairs even creaked. This space has perpetrated cis-normative cruelty, financial violence, and the total erasure of my neurodivergent sovereignty. Mike, flanked by Gary's twitching moustache and Chad's chiseled skepticism, slid the complaint log across the wobbly table, pages thick as a bad novel, topped with a corporate memo tallying the exodus. Karen, he said, voice steady as a racked barbell, you're the reason powerlifting's a ghost town. Zumba's cancelled indefinitely, and we've got tumbleweeds rolling through cardio. 35% gone. That's not buzz, that's bankruptcy. Her livestream captured it all for 5,000 followers. GymKaren, now a meme empire, split between stan cheers of disrupt the system and Rust threads demanding return to brunch, tofu tyrant. Gary snorted from his corner perch, protein shaker rumbling. It's a gym, not your personal TED stage. Some of us just want to lift without the lecture. Chad, who'd slipped her his number twice during her grudging cafe shifts, post-Venmo cutoff, when she bust kale sludge muttering, forced labor under late capitalism, drew the line here, whispering chaos queens too much. Karen thrust her hydro flask like a scepter, tears welling in performative perfection. This is the patriarchy's final boss level, sitting with the discomfort of your collective fragility. I remember my own quiet exile from a rally book club, one too many digressions on airport pat-downs, and poof, banned with a plate of uneaten cookies and a polite email. Karen's felt biblical, a flood of her own making. Mike delivered the hammer, a lifetime membership revocation, printed on official letterhead, paired with a free t-shirt, I survived Karen, in ironic glitter font. Run off at the local print shop as his petty masterpiece. You're out, for good. Take the shirt, you've earned it. Her eyes brimmed, the kind of tears that summoned vulnerability circles from thin air, but this time, no circle formed. This rejection is trauma incarnate, a badge of honor against late capitalist cruelty. She stormed the live exit, tote trailing a final glitter comet, pausing only to stick at the front doors one last time. Iron Haven equals Iron Fist of Oppression. The stream peaked at 10,000 viewers as she peeled out in her Uber. Public transit still unsafe for her energy, bound for her parents' poolside estate, that site of inherited colonial wealth she publicly decried, but privately craved for its heated jacuzzi and bottomless oat milk. Next morning, the gym exhaled. Gary loaded 405 onto the deadlift bar, the rack creaking a sigh of pure relief. No megaphones, no beanbags, no charts clashing with his eye of the tiger grunts. Chad high-fived mid-rep. Peace and pumps, brother. Treadmills hummed with returning mums. Spin class swelled to capacity. Ellipticals whirred without whispers of cult.
Membership inquiries pinged the desk. 35% rebound overnight. The saga's infamy drawing curiosity seekers who craved the lore minus the lectures. Mike hung the I survived shirt in the break room like a battle flag, chuckling over black coffee. We all survive our Karens somehow, he told the empty room. Mirrors now reflecting egos untarnished by stickers. Karen, chaise lounging poolside, posted her ban as badge of honor reel. Healing arc incoming. Decolonize fitness. Followers lapped it up, blind to the irony. She'd won by losing, her viral villainy boosting the gym she'd vacated. Reality, that stubborn beast, had pinned her at last. But in her bubble, every loss reframed into legend, ready for the next rack to conquer. Gary locked out his PR, bar kissing the floor with finality. The gym breathed free, glitter trail fading to dust.
Subscribe with us now and stay connected as we journey through every chapter together. Now back to our story.